We want to do things with her that are going to kind of bring her positive emotions up during that, right? So, like, do you ever do anything, like, do you ever teach her any, like, cute tricks or anything? Like, some people do, like, high fives, or, like,
Nothing
spin
crazy,
circles,
she
or
just
anything like
sits.
that? Okay, so, like,
Yeah.
what we might do, and we can start this a little bit today, is teach her a couple of little fun things.
Okay.
And the reason I like to do this is, in my experience, activities that the dog associates with rewards as a whole become more rewarding than just a reward in and of itself. Okay? So, as an example, like you saw 2 sessions ago, maybe 3 sessions ago, we were
When
working
she
on the
did.
jumping,
Yeah.
right? And you actually saw how, like, as she was jumping, her energy came up. We're gonna do some more of that today, right? Her
Okay.
tail came out, and she started to feel really good about herself when she did that.
Yeah.
Every time she did it, she was getting a reward. The thing about training a trick is, it's all fun and games, like we don't put any pressure on the dog. It's like, we're just having fun here, if you don't wanna do it, fine, we can do it some other time. And we're almost always rewarding the dog with treats. So there's a really strong correlation. So what starts to happen is the behavior itself creates the emotions.
Okay.
And because the dog's putting energy into the behavior, it just tends to be a more potent form of creating those emotions. So now I'm going through my drill, I get her ready, I leash her up, I got my coat on, I go out, I'm in the hallway, maybe I've taught her to do a spin on command,
Yeah.
maybe just with a little food lure, spin her around. And so we go in the hallway, we do 3 spins, she's like, yay, and then we go back inside. And you might find that going out there and doing that fun little trick that she's already, like, we've already pumped that up separately. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll teach the trick separately from the drill and then add it to the drill.
Okay.
You might find that that actually gets her in a better place emotionally than if we were to just bring her in the hallway and hand her a cookie.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
she's so focused on the stress. Of
yeah,
life.
and we do this in so many different contexts. And even if, like, okay, maybe you get to a point where it's like, all right, she's doing really good. Like, I'm leashing her, everything's going great. And then I only see her start to stress, like, once we get out the front door because she's anticipating having to go for the walk and maybe there's construction down the street or whatever. So maybe we do that, we do the whole thing, we get on the front porch, we're on the front walkway, and then we do a little high five and a spin and off we go back inside, right? And so we just do these things to pump her up. And then eventually it's like, okay, she hates when a garbage truck goes by. So we're walking along, here comes a garbage truck, it goes by, hey, you survived, spin, 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 high five, weave between my legs, yay, and like,
Yeah.
it just can help to bring her back emotionally from where she was,
Okay.
right? And I find that those types of things, those kinds of games are way more potent than, again, like garbage truck, treat. Like, no, garbage truck, do something energetic, do something fun, bring your energy up.
Kind
Just
of take
like-
your attention away from that.
Yeah,
too.
but it's like our bodies and our minds are connected, right? Like people who are top performers in various fields know this. You know, people that are stage performers, they pump themselves up before they go on stage. They jump up and down, they shake their hands, they get their blood flowing in their body because the moving, the activity feeds our emotions and our state of mind,
Yeah.
right? And so it can be a very powerful thing. So
Okay.
we can definitely, like, I always start with spin because it's like, it's just stupidly easy.
Okay.
And the dogs, when they learn it, they tend to like it, and it gets their energy moving. And it's like, it's motion based. Like, I'm looking for getting their body moving as opposed to like a high five, which is like they just sit there and do this. I want them to move. Like, that's why the jumping, like, you know, going over a jump is so potent because they have to
Exert.
express their energy in order to do it. So it brings everything up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But you can't, like, I don't expect you to like go out on your walk carrying a jump.
Yeah.
Right? So we need something that's doable out on the walk.
Yeah.
You know, something that the dog can associate, and that can be. So teaching the spin is super easy. It's really just a matter of luring the dog in a
Okay.
circle, right? So luring is just basically using the dog's nose. You're gonna hold food in your hand. I just want them to bend their head and then start to turn their body. Now, some dogs just do funky stuff in the beginning, right? Like you're trying to rotate them around and they start walking backwards or
Okay.
jumping up on your hand or doing something else. So sometimes what we have to do is just reward pieces of it,
Okay.
right? So instead of expecting the dog to turn all the way, sometimes I might just get her to bend her head like this and just reward that a bunch of times. And then eventually she's gonna go, you know, that's kind of uncomfortable, and she'll move the rest of her body around.
Okay.
So some dogs you can just boom, right around in a circle, no problems at all. Sometimes we've got to break it up into parts. Yeah, just like that. Beautiful. So all the way around. Perfect.
Good girl.
So practice that a bunch of times on that side, and you want to just get to a point where it just becomes really fluid. This should be a very easy thing to teach. There you go,
Good
good.
girl.
And what'll happen eventually is like, you'll just kind of do like a gesture with your hand and she'll whip around.
Just go around.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Good.
Good girl.
So, with this kind of thing too, you can use what we call a verbal marker. So
Okay.
we often use like reward markers. It's just a sound that indicates to the dog precisely what they're being rewarded for. If you've
Okay.
ever heard of people training with clickers,
Yeah.
it's the same idea. The clicker is just a really precise sound that the dog just knows means that a reward is on its way. So what
Okay.
happens is, whatever the dog is doing when they hear that sound, they know is what they're being rewarded for. It allows you to really pinpoint things. So in this context, she's spinning around in a circle, she gets back facing me, and then I reward her. Well, was she rewarded for the fact that she spun around, or the fact that she's now facing me? Am I rewarding the action or the position?
Okay.
Right? It can be confusing for the dog. So what I'll do is, I like the dog to associate the word yes with the reward coming,
Okay.
and then I'll say yes while they're rotating,
Okay.
right? So
So
I'll
they
get
know
them
it's
like
coming.
right past that 50% mark, and while their body's in motion, yes. And then I reward that final position. So they know it's the action of spinning that is what's being rewarded. It's not just being in front of me, facing me, however you get there. It's the actual act.
It's
of
what
the
you're
spin.
actually doing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yes. 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 Good girl, yes.
And try to just say yes one time per reward.
Just
So like,
once.
get her doing what you want, and when she's doing it the way you like it, yes, and then she comes all the way around and reward her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect, that was great. Otherwise what happens sometimes is because they get the reward when they're facing you, so like, they're already facing you and you're trying to go, they're like, what, I'm right here, this is what you want, right? Like, you keep rewarding me when I'm right here, I am right here. You see what I mean?
Yeah, she's not making this one.
Yeah, so, and for some dogs it's no problem at all, but we do want to just make sure we're being clear with the dog as far as specifically what we're rewarding.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
One time.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes. Oh wait, I didn't.
Yeah, it's
Can we
okay.
restart? Yes.
Yeah, and like what you were doing was you were giving, like you were saying yes and then feeding and then saying yes again. It would be like, so like, you know, like if you order something on Amazon, you get like a little email that says like, your package is on the way, here's the tracking number. It would be like if they sent you that, and then they sent it again after you already got your package,
Okay.
right? It's like, I
Yeah.
don't need the tracking number anymore, I already have it, I already know when it's gonna be here, it was yesterday.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
you telling her yes is basically getting that little like, hey, we received your order, your package is on the way,
Okay.
right? Like that's what it is.
She did start living with him, someone.
Yes.
Perfect. And that was great timing because you actually marked the moment her butt came up off the ground.
And she actually
And she
started
was standing,
turning.
which is really the way we want her to do it. We don't want her spinning on her little butt. We want her standing up and putting some energy into it.
Yeah. Yes.
Beautiful. All right, give her a little break. And then we're gonna just go the other way because we need to unwind her now.
Okay.
No, it's just nice to have dogs be able to be flexible. A
Yeah.
lot of dogs have a dominant side, just like we do. So you may find that one way or the other is actually easier for her. Like my dog spins this way really easily, but has a hard time with this way.
Okay.
And that's kind of good to know. So we don't have to be super particular about this. This is really just something we're doing for fun and to have, like, to be able to create some energy.
Okay.
So the most important thing is I just want you to practice it a lot and get reps in.
Yeah.
But when I say practice it a lot, I don't want you to do really long sessions of it, okay? Because that makes it boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
so
Like,
fun.
Think of anything fun that you like doing, and then imagine being forced to do it for 36 hours straight, and you would hate it,
Yeah.
right? So you want little short and sweet sessions, but do them frequently. Like,
Okay.
you can just have, like, I like to keep little jars of treats around my house, make it easy. You can just randomly throughout the day, like, grab a treat and make her spin.
Yeah.
So do it frequently like that. But you want to stop practicing. Like, let's just say you're going to do repetitions like we are right now. You want to end the session while she's still, like, really into it. You want to leave her a little bit, like, dissatisfied. You know what I mean? That's what'll make her more excited to do it
Do
next
it
time.
again?
Yeah, she's like, oh, I've been waiting for this. Yes. So short and sweet, but frequent.
Okay,
Make sense?
sounds good.
Now, if you want to get to the point where like you don't have to like bend and spin her all the way around, and you want to eventually add a word to this, etc. So the first step would be, if you want to add a word, pick what you want to call it, right? Like spin, twist, boogie, whatever, I don't care. Just pick a word, and you would give the cue right before you do the lure. Very important that it's before, not at the same time, because the cue helps the dog to predict what's going to happen next, right?
Okay.
Like I always say, like if I was going to swing a broomstick at your head, would you prefer me to tell you duck before or after? Before, right? Because that gives you the advantage. Likewise, like, do you have a favorite candy or like a favorite food or like something that you love eating?
French fries?
French fries. Okay. So let's say you were starving and you haven't had French fries in forever. I've got some. And I'm gonna I've got pinpoint accuracy, I'm gonna throw one directly in your mouth. Okay? Would you prefer me to tell you I'm gonna do that before I throw it or after I throw it?
Before.
Probably before, so you can open your mouth and have a better chance of catching the food.
Yeah.
Let's say you didn't even speak English. You didn't know any English at all, but I went open and then through. Open and then through. Pretty soon when I say open, you're gonna just open your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Now if I already have bounced the French fry off your forehead and then I tell you open, you're not gonna learn that cue. Because it doesn't give you any advantage. like, well, what good does that do? You know? So that's just the way our brains are programmed to learn. Okay? So she wants the food. You give her the sound that helps her predict what to do to get it. And then she'll start doing that. The other thing, as you start doing that, is you want to start kind of fading away that physical prompt, okay? The actual circular motion with your hands. So what I do is, right now you're spinning her 100% of the way around and then rewarding. So what I would start doing is, I'd spin her almost all the way and then remove my hand and see if she finishes on her own.
Okay.
And then I go yes and reward. And I just start pulling that hand away earlier and earlier and earlier. So eventually I kind of go like halfway and pull my hand. And she spins the rest of the way on her own and gets the reward. And eventually it's just like, I'm just up here and I go like, I just kind of start the gesture. And she goes, oh, I know what that is. And she spins around. And now you don't have to bend all the way down and do the whole big circle anymore. That stuff is details, okay? Personally, I don't care if she does this perfectly on verbal cue. I don't care whether you have to bend down and do the whole thing around or not, because for our function of just using this as a way to pump her up and make her feel great, it doesn't matter. But if you wanted to take the training to that level, those would be the next steps.
Okay.